last 4 days, the highest law-making body of our nation has been stalled over the demands of an apology from one MP. That MP is Rahul Gandhi of the Congress party. Today, on day 4 of the budget session's second half, Rahul Gandhi did turn up in Parliament. Not that there was any discussion as disruptions continued. He decided then to bring his message in a press conference. The political fight right now is that the BJP is saying that Rahul Gandhi has insulted India on foreign soil by seeking an intervention in Indian democracy. The Congress says these are distractionary tactics to avoid a JPC on the Adani issue. So let's examine what Rahul Gandhi said exactly and whether he did indeed ask for foreign intervention in Indian democracy. We've set for you an entire timeline of his speeches during the UK and culled out the parts where the BJP is targeting him, saying this was a call for foreign intervention. So February 28th was the first speech. It was actually a lecture at the Cambridge University. Let me play out a key excerpt where he says that defending Indian democracy is more than just about India.
One way I like to think about it is that Indian democracy is a public good, okay? Because it is by far the biggest democracy. At least 50% of people who live in a democratic space live in India. And so preserving and defending Indian democracy is more than just about India. It's actually about defending the democratic structure and the democratic system on the planet.
Okay. On the 4th of March, he spoke at another event, this one organized by Indian Journalists Association, where he specifically talked about how US and Europe are oblivious to how Indian democracy has come undone. Listen in.
The surprising thing is that the so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious that a huge chunk of the democratic model has come undone.
So here is where the controversy begins, and the BJP asks whether Mr. Rahul Gandhi is, provoking or asking for an intervention from the United States and Europe into Indian democracy. So now 2 days later, Mr. Gandhi is speaking at Chatham House, and at this point, on the 6th of March, he does say that it's an internal problem. That internal problem he's referring to is his view of Indian democracy. By this point, like I said, the BJP has already begun its attack on Rahul Gandhi's comments. Listen in.
It's our problem, right? It's an internal problem. It's an Indian problem. And the solution is going to come from inside. It's not going to come from outside. However, the scale of Indian democracy means that democracy in India is a global public good, right? It impacts way further than our boundaries. If Indian democracy collapses, in my view, democracy on the planet suffers a very serious, possibly fatal blow. So it's important for you too. It's not just important for us. We'll deal with our problem.
Okay. The very same day, in the UK, he reiterates his message that the issue with Indian democracy as he sees it is not just an Indian problem.
Democracy in India is a global public good. It is a central anchor, right, for the planet, because we are the only people who have managed democracy at the scale that we have. Nobody else has been able to do it. We are 3 times the size of Europe, and we have managed it for the last, many decades. If that cracks, it is going to cause a problem for the planet.
Now, days after he's being apologized or being asked to apologize for his remarks, Rahul Gandhi has now doubled down on his charge of democracy being stifled. He's denied allegations that his statements were anti-India. In fact, he's saying he's not getting a chance to speak. Listen in to what he said today.
I went to Parliament this morning with the idea of putting what I have said or what I feel on the floor of the House. 4 ministers have raised allegations against me in Parliament House. It is my right to be allowed to speak on the floor of the House. I requested the Speaker today. I went to his chambers and I requested him and I said, look, I would very much like to speak. I told him that people from the BJP have made allegations against me, and as a member of Parliament, it is my right to speak. He was non-committal. In his way, he smiled. But I'm hopeful that I will be allowed to speak tomorrow. I'm a member of Parliament, and as the allegation has been made in Parliament by 4 ministers, it is my right to have the opportunity. It's my democratic right. So if Indian democracy was functioning, I would be able to say my piece in Parliament. So,
please,
let me speak.
Please, let him finish.
So actually what you are seeing is a test of Indian democracy. After 4 leaders of the BJP have made an allegation about a member of Parliament, is that member of Parliament going to be given the same space that those 4 ministers have been given?
Rahul Gandhi has made it into a habit to derail Indian democracy, criticize it, and demean it. आज भारत के लोकतंत्र को किसी ने अपमानित किया है, डिमीन किया है, तो वो है राहुल गांधी। प्रेस में ऐसी कोई बात नहीं की कि उन्हें खेद है जो उनके द्वारा कहा गया। बीजेपी का स्पष्ट आरोप है, राहुल गांधी को माफी मांगना चाहिए और हम राहुल गांधी की माफीनामा के लिए देश भर में कैंपेन करते रहेंगे।
Okay, so were Rahul Gandhi's speeches actually a call to foreign intervention, or is the BJP making too much of it? To speak on this, I'm first joined by Sam Pitroda, the chairman of the Indian Overseas Congress. Mr. Pitroda, thank you so much for speaking with us on Beyond the Headline this evening. We have gone into the speeches that Mr. Rahul Gandhi gave, what he said on various occasions during that trip to the United Kingdom, and on the 4 occasions that we pulled out, we played for our viewers, he has talked about Indian democracy being a public good. He's also at one point said that he's astonished that Europe and US are not saying anything or not responding as Indian democracy comes undone. Why should these statements not be looked at as a call for foreign intervention?
Very simple. First of all, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for showing all the clips to make it very clear. Rahul Gandhi basically said 3 things. 1, Indian democracy is global public good. 2, in his view, Indian democracy is under stress. And there are many examples of it. And 3, this is our problem. We will sort it out. We have to solve it. Foreign intervention cannot help. I was there. He also said lots of other things that nobody's talking about. He talked about women's security. He talked about unemployment. He talked about inflation. I don't understand why. BJP is hung up on this idea that he said something which he didn't say. In addition,
One minute, Mr. Pitroda, if I may. You're right, he talked about a lot of other things. And I listened to some of those speeches as well. He also talked about how after Bharat Jodo Yatra, he learned that exercise does not help you to lose weight, it's only diet. He's put on 1 kilo after Bharat Jodo Yatra. So I have listened to those speeches. He did talk about a lot of things, but I want to come back to the point and to the specific point of the charge being made. What does he mean? What does he mean when he says, the surprising thing is that the so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious that a huge chunk of the democratic model has come undone, which is the real problem. He says the opposition is fighting that battle. It's not just an Indian battle. It's actually a much more important battle. What does he mean when he says not just an Indian battle? What does he mean when he says that this is a problem for the world? Isn't that an exhortation? Isn't that an exhortation to world powers to intervene into what he sees as a problem? What are the ways to read it?
No, there are many ways to read it. It depends on how you want to read it. To me, it says that we don't see enough in the Western media about Indian democracy. We don't read enough in major newspapers, because he spoke also to the Association of Indian Journalists. To really come to a conclusion that he's inviting foreign leaders to intervene is absurd. But we have made a big political issue out of it. I think you should ask him, give him a chance to speak in the parliament. He will clarify. So let's not jump the gun.
No. Mr. Pitroda, with all due respect, I'm hardly jumping the gun. With all due respect, I'm hardly jumping the gun.
I did not mean you. My apology.
Yeah, because
I did not mean you. Sorry. So don't take it personally. I meant...
No, I'm not. Let me just clarify what I'm trying to ask you. Because it's not one statement. It's not one statement. And he's speaking to different sets of people during this UK trip, as you well know, of course. He's speaking at Cambridge, where it's a speech. There's no Q&A. It's a speech. So it's part of his speech where he talks about democracy in India being a public good. And it's actually about defending the democratic structure and the democratic system on the planet. Then he is speaking to journalists, the Indian Journalist Association, where he makes the comments about US and Europe being oblivious. Then he's speaking at Chatham House. He's also speaking with British parliamentarians. So there are different sets of audiences and the message is the same. At the very least, Mr. Pitroda, as a politician, is he unable to explain what he's trying to say? Or is there something more to it? Was there a theme that he has gone to with mind?
No, let's give him a chance in the parliament to speak. He will clarify his mind. I can't speak for him. I can speak for myself as to what I saw. Based on what I saw, I can assure you, my conclusion is he did not ask for any foreign intervention. But give him a chance in the parliament to speak, and he will clarify. And we won't have all this halla-gulla thereafter.
No, perhaps, I mean, whether there will be halla-gulla or not is not something that I can speak to, and how far it will go to politically, because this is also now, of course, a political story, of course.
With me.
No, of course, as a parliamentarian, he must and he should. The question was, where was he on day 1? He's come on day 4. So, yes, of course, he should, he will, I'm sure.
Day 5. If he came on day 4, he was not allowed to speak. So maybe on day 5, he'll be allowed to speak. Let's hope.
Okay, I don't know. We'll have to go into the reasons why he didn't get a chance to speak today. There will be parliamentary procedure. Can you just come in and say, I want to speak, and immediately, get a chance to speak? I'm not getting into those nitty-gritties, Mr. Pitroda. I'm talking about the political message. Has this entire UK trip backfired terribly
I don't
for
think
Mr.
so.
Rahul
I
Gandhi
think it has
and
been
for the
converted
Congress?
into-
Because right now, the party seems to be on the back foot trying to defend him as not having said something that is anti-Indian.
I don't think party is on the back foot. It is your interpretation. I think the whole thing was generated by BJP as an issue to really avoid conversation on real issues on the ground, which is Adani, unemployment, inflation, women's security, some of the issues Rahul talked about. So my answer would be give him a chance. Let's wait. There is no sense in devoting 3 full days of national media attention before giving him a chance. If we give him a
Frankly,
chance,
more important,
he will
Mr.
tell his
Pitroda, more
side of the
important
story.
than national media attention, frankly, is the fact that 4 days of Parliament has gone into this. I mean, that's
Bothers me too.
actually more important. That's taxpayers' money.
No, but then
Parliamentarians
the
are sitting and just talking about this.
Then the members of the parliament should have said, let's wait till Rahul comes. When he comes, we will ask him and we'll clarify it. It would have been very simple. Why create all this, noise when he's not there? Fine, he could be late. Maybe he should have been there on the first day. Maybe he should have been there on the 5th day. It's okay.
Mr. Pitroda, you're of course a veteran in the Congress party, and your proximity to Rahul Gandhi is spoken about. But I want to honestly ask you, this very statement that you've just made, and this kind of outlook, that it's okay whatever he said. Let him come on day 1, let him come on day 4,
Sure,
let him come on day
sure.
5. No, please listen to my question, Mr. Pitroda. Don't you think this is what has irked the Indian voter? This
No, I
sort
don't
of
think
attitude
voter- I
that
don't think
I can
voter-
waltz into
These are two
Parliament
separate
and I
issues.
must get a chance immediately to speak. So what if I have spoken? Because it's one of
these
two
are two
things.
separate
Either Rahul
issues.
Gandhi, Mr. Pitroda, please allow me to finish. Either Mr. Rahul Gandhi is a very prominent Indian politician, and as an opposition leader, his words must be taken seriously, or it's no big deal and his words shouldn't be taken seriously. Which one is it?
No. First of all, when I said no big deal, I meant only for this particular issue we are discussing. That give him a chance to speak. It's no big deal until he gets chance to speak. That's what I meant. I didn't mean no big deal in black and white. You see, we have tendency to take everything as absolute in black and white. There are gray areas. So I did not mean, and you connected immediately that to voters. I don't think this has any connection with voter right now. We are talking about what did Rahul Gandhi say or said in London, BJP's interpretation. The best way to clarify that is to ask him to clarify. And at the end, we will see how people feel about it. Okay? We are in the process right now. The process cannot be completed unless Rahul Gandhi is given a fair chance to explain.
Okay, I'm sure he will be. I hope
Even
he
I
will
can't
be. As a
discuss that.
parliamentarian, he should be. No, but it's in his press conference, we've got a glimpse into what his position is. Mr. Pitroda, just one last point. Why do you think this is not about Indian voters? He is a
Because
core
it
leader
is
of the
work in
Congress
process.
party speaking in
Because
2023.
right now, what we are
Everything he's
discussing-
saying and doing is a message to the Indian voter.
I understand. All I'm saying is this is work in process.
Okay.
Work in process is not complete until Rahul Gandhi gets a chance to speak. And then you can have a conversation about the impact of that on voter. I'm not going to have that conversation. I'm not qualified to have that conversation. But then you can have that conversation with whosoever is concerned. That is a fair conversation.
Do you think...
But in the middle,
The-
to have
the
that
quality-
conversation, I don't think
No,
is fair.
the conversation is ongoing, sir. If Parliament doesn't function for 4 days, and with all the comments made today, it's definitely an ongoing conversation. Last question to you, Mr. Pitroda.
So let him
on
answer. and
hindsight,
then,
on hindsight,
but do you agree with
on
me or not?
hindsight,
Should we give him a
On
chance
what?
to answer or not?
I'm nobody to give or not give a chance.
No,
Of
I'm
course,
asking
he
you as
must speak in
I'm asking
Parliament.
you as an Indian.
There should be.
you know,
There is in fact a
media
demand that he
person.
should speak in Parliament.
Okay, so he should be given a chance to speak. That's fair. You and I agree with that.
Okay, so I'm sure he will speak in Parliament, and yes, he should also be able to speak in Parliament, and I'm sure he will. He'll also have to clarify what he has said. If he said my mic was shut off, when was
Which
it
he
shut
will
off?
do.
All of
Which
these
he will
charges should be clarified. But my question to you, Mr. Pitroda, is on hindsight, do you think that whatever message Rahul Gandhi wanted to put out during this London visit has somewhere gotten lost? Was there
No,
a mix-up or a mistake in the messaging?
I don't think so at all. You ask people in the London audience, they'll have one opinion. I have learned that BJP has tendency to twist messages. It has happened to me also. Hua to hua is a good example, but I didn't say anything like that. Okay. In the context, you have to see the totality of the conversation. You can't take 2 words out of it and blow it out of proportion and give whatever meaning you want to give and say, this is my interpretation. There is always context that is more important along with content.
All right.
So rather
Thank you.
than,
Yes.
so I would suggest let's wait for Rahul Gandhi to speak in the parliament.
Sam Pitroda, they're saying give
Thank
him
you.
a chance to speak in Parliament. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Mr. Pitroda. He's talking about context. We have painstakingly pulled out excerpts from 4 different occasions. The message is the same. There's a very clear message with which Rahul Gandhi embarked on this trip. Was it in fact anti-national? Was it in fact an exhortation to foreign powers to intervene in Indian democracy, or is that a twist on words to create a distraction? That's really the debate. Shaina NC of the BJP joining me in that debate, as is Yashwant Deshmukh, founder and chief editor at C Voter. Tehseen Poonawalla with me now on the show, political analyst, as is Anshul Avijit, spokesperson of the Congress. Welcome to all of you. Shaina NC, give him a chance. Sam Pitroda said that not once, at least I think 5 or 6 times. Give him a chance and then let him clarify what he is saying. Why is the BJP jumping to conclusions?
Tamanna, how many chances does one give a politician? How many chances does one give somebody who makes illogical, irrational, stupid statements, and that too depicting the country to be some kind of dictatorship which is a figment of his imagination? Do understand what Mr. Rahul Gandhi said on international soil or overseas is a depiction of what the narrative is being set by a certain segment that wants to defame Prime Minister Modi. Now, if he is the constitutional head elected by the people of India and elected by a huge majority, I think Mr. Rahul Gandhi has no business to put out wrong news, to put out a defaming India policy, which seems to be his only agenda. And it's all very well for his advisor, Mr. Pitroda, to say, oh, speak about employment, speak about a vision plan. What is your vision plan, sir? I want to ask, when the country is being applauded world over for its economic policy, for its corrective measures,
one minute, China ji,
sure India is a global
what defamatory,
superpower.
What defamatory statement are you referring to? What exact statement are you saying was defamatory to India? I'm not talking about statements that attack the BJP. As an opposition leader, he's bound not to be a fan. What are the defamatory statements to India?
Whether you like it or not, the Prime Minister is elected by crores of Indians, and you have to respect the post of the Prime Minister irrespective of your party philosophy or your digressing from core issues. Number one, he said that, India, it's no longer a democracy and this is a threat to you. Oh, please, we are the most vibrant democracy world over. So please don't play with words and make these inappropriate statements. You are saying that women in India are not safe and they cannot even go to a police station and register a complaint. Which woman are you talking about and which India are you talking about? Aspirational India and women of India have got respect thanks to this government. Forget, you may play your appeasement politics whilst we ensure that whether it's a triple talaq which is implemented or whether women are in a position to go and register complaints.
I am for the purpose of this debate.
All of this is factual.
For the purpose of this debate, I am sticking to the charge of asking for foreign intervention in Indian democracy, because you are talking about Indian women not being safe. Anshul will now give you NCRB data. And yes, safety of women in India still needs to be worked upon. So I suggest we don't go all over the place. For the purpose of this debate, in order to streamline it and come to some kind of conclusion, what is the strongest charge? Is that you were asking other nations to intervene in Indian democracy. Anshul, we have pulled out all the clips, all the bites. We've got all the quotes. On 4 different occasions, Rahul Gandhi calls the matter of Indian democracy a public good. He is astonished as to why Europe and US are oblivious to what is happening here. What does he want Europe and US to do?
So first of all, Tamanna, I'm absolutely delighted that because of Mr. Rahul Gandhi's comments, Indian democracy is actually being talked about. It's brought center stage once again. It never left us really, but we are talking about its fragility, its robustness, its strengths, its weaknesses. That's absolutely wonderful. It should be every day, because we can never take Indian democracy while this government is here for granted. Secondly, about public good. Absolutely correct. These statements throughout all his talks, he was consistent in them. We cannot provincialize Indian democracy. It cannot be ghettoized, particularly when every 5th person around the world is an Indian. The Prime Minister in Denmark said that India's achievement...
No, Anshul, what are you... I cannot understand. What do you mean when you say it can't be ghettoized? Does it mean everyone else around the world who's not an Indian has to have a say on Indian democracy? What does it mean? We're just throwing these words around. What is Rahul Gandhi trying to say? What is the Congress trying to say? I've asked Sam Pitroda this question. What does he mean when he says Europe and US are not paying attention?
No. What I'm trying to say is that when the Prime Minister says that India's achievements belong to the entire world, he said that in Denmark, then I would assume that our greatest achievement, what is most precious to us, for the last 75 years is India's democracy. What can be more precious than a common man saying that he has the ability to remove the government? And when that is under threat, then we have to talk about it around the world. I mean, it's like the caste system as well, right? The caste system, it's the most heinous sort of discriminatory act. But that doesn't mean it can't be talked around the world. In fact, in America, you have laws in American university about discriminatory practices.
Shaina NC, why can't you talk about Indian democracy? Okay, Anshul, complete your point.
No, I'm just saying that
let's talk about Indian democracy.
By the way, he never
but
said
let's also talk about the fact.
1 minute, Shaina, let him complete. We're overlapping the audio. Let him complete.
There should be an intervention or some sort of reorientation of India's political structure by foreign powers. In fact, he went on to say that any kind of issues about democracy, we have to reorient ourselves or become a more liberal democratic structure, has to come from within. All what he said was that these flag bearers of democracy, they're so self-righteous. Why are they not reacting when he thinks that Indian democracy is under attack?
Why should they react? Anshul, why should they react?
That is his comment.
Why should they react? Why should the US and Europe react? If there is a problem in Indian democracy, it will have to be solved on the hustings, on the poll hustings here by us.
Absolutely. That is your opinion. Of course, you can have one. What is wrong with that? We are having a discussion. I think it's absolutely wonderful that we are having a discussion on the nature of Indian democracy.
Thanks to Shaina NC to respond. Thanks to Rahul Gandhi, we are having this discussion on Indian democracy, which apparently we've never ever had before.
I never said
and
that.
And this has now come to light. Okay, yes, Shaina NC.
What is a democracy? Let's understand that India is the most vibrant democracy 75 years down, where every individual is given the right to vote a free and fair ballot, where you choose a prime minister who is accountable to the people, who is transparent, and who has taken India on the world map. There you have this inexperienced, illogical statements being floated by Rahul Gandhi on the international platform, defaming the prime minister, defaming the country, questioning our democratic processes, questioning the independent agencies, questioning everything without any substantiated proof, and only trying to defame us. Is that allowed? Is that acceptable? It shouldn't be acceptable for any elected prime minister. And
is it allowed?
You believe that
No,
you
no,
have
1 minute.
no
China ji,
issues
what do
to
you mean
raise
by
on
is
the
it
floor
allowed?
of the House. 1
8
minute.
minute.
1 minute. 1 minute. What? If you have an elected prime minister, he is not the prime minister of the BJP. He is the prime minister who echoes the sentiment of 135 crore Indians. And you have gone on the international platform and tried to make it out to be as if he is some kind of a dictator, having said that they're misusing systems. What is all this nonsense? This is only theatrics. And Mr. Rahul Gandhi, for want of a better word, is
China
not
NC, you have been
experienced.
1 minute.
He
China
is
NC,
not
1 minute.
in
China
well-
NC.
He is
Okay,
not
what do you mean
informed.
by
If
is
there
it
are
allowed?
evidences, prove it. There are no evidences, so why do you say?
What do you mean by is it allowed? In a democracy, you are allowed to criticize.
India's prime minister. You are not allowed to defame our country on the international platform, where you have no experience at all, you have no substantiated proof, and you just
By
go
which
blabbering
law are you
away
not allowed
just to
to
garner
speak your
few
view?
eyeballs. Please.
1 minute.
Can
One
I
minute,
just run
1
you through
minute.
the comments of the Prime Minister himself on
You
foreign soil
should-
and all the kinds of things he said about the opposition
should you first,
and therefore demeaning the opposition and therefore
respect
Indian
the
democracy
office
itself?
of the Prime Minister or not? Answer me.
Tehseen Poonawalla, 1 minute.
Should you
Tehseen
respect
Poonawalla,
the office of the Prime Minister
the office
or
of
not?
the Prime Minister
Should
was
you
not
be in
respected.
a
Okay,
position to
Tehseen
talk
Poonawalla is
about
answering
your
a question,
issues
Shaina
on the floor
NC.
of the House in Parliament? Or should it be about the international platform, which you have no experience on, and you're just going blabbering away just to garner a little bit of traction?
No, but
it's
see,
nothing but theatrics and
a
photo
bad
optics.
speech, in your view, you're saying it was a bad speech and he's blabbering. That cannot be a crime. That might be bad for those who are hearing it if they think he was blabbering. But that cannot be your primary grouse, that you didn't like his speech. Your grouse is right now that he is defaming the country. Tehseen Poonawalla, is he defaming the country? Like I said again, he is talking about Indian democracy being a public good. What is he trying to say?
I actually did this evening want to have some very intellectual conversation, but we're down to meme. But let me just clarify a couple of things before the actual points that I want to say. One, yes, he's my prime minister, but that does not mean his voice resonates with me. Let me be very clear on this. Number two, the most honorable prime minister himself, as prime minister abroad, has said a number of things which I think are much more embarrassing. For example, he said Indians were not proud to be Indians before 2014, in whatever context he said it. He said he was cleaning the kachra of 60 years. He said secularists like me, our stomachs would hurt, when he gifted the holy Bhagavad Gita to somebody abroad. He also said, and Arun Jaitley defended it, when he said in Germany that India before had gone with a begging bowl, and Arun Jaitley said the prime minister cannot be gagged abroad. He has freedom of speech abroad. So the most honorable prime minister has said tons of things, including about the election commissioner James Lindo. We said that he takes orders from Vatican. So I don't want to get into this tutu meme of what Honorable Modi ji has said wherever he said. That, in my opinion, was reprehensible as prime minister. Let's come to what the substance is. I'm a political person, and if Yashwant is there, I think Yashwant will bear testimony to what I'm saying. This particular debate is leading to nothing except it works for every single political party of both the national parties. The BJP does not want to debate on issues, which is economy, which is jobs. So they've somehow manufactured this issue. And perhaps the Congress is trying to take this head on, because now it's becoming the Congress versus the BJP. The fact of the matter is, if Rahul Gandhi ji has said anything that is defamatory, there are two options, Ms. NC. Either, Shaina ji, you either file a case against him, prosecute him, or B, as three ministers have raised this issue in Parliament, Give him his legitimate right to defend himself. Maybe his speech was blathering, maybe his speech was wrong, maybe he said something wrong, but allow him to clarify in Parliament. You cannot gag him in Parliament. Parliament belongs to the
No, but who
opposition,
has gagged
and it is
him?
the duty of the government to
Who
run
has
it.
gagged him in Parliament? Who has gagged him? You know, this was
Thank you
another
for
claim
that
today that he's been
specification. Yes,
gagged.
no, I'm a
So
very
who has
specific.
gagged him?
I use my words extremely wisely, extremely wisely. When Sri Rahul Gandhi spoke 49 minutes in Parliament, just in the prior part of the session, almost 40 minutes of his speech was expunged. That, in my opinion, is gagging. You cannot remove the speech of a leader in the opposition. If Sri Rahul Gandhi, you have made, as in the BJP has made accusations, 3 ministers have brought up, he has a fundamental right in that house to defend himself. You cannot take away his right to defend himself. He must be given an opportunity to defend himself.
No, so
maybe
he will
he's
be.
wrong. Maybe he deserves
No,
to
he will be. No, but you're putting the cart before the horse. The expunged speech came before the 3 ministers' accusations.
That's true, but that's one example.
So now,
this is the second.
now he will be given an opportunity. I mean, to expect that the first day he comes, within 10 minutes he should speak. Perhaps that's a bit much to expect. He will be given the chance when
all right.
the speaker allows.
But then the way the House functions, because the House functions on procedure and precedence, the Honorable Speaker could have called Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who's the leader of the Congress in the House, and said, look, Rahul Gandhi is requested to reply to the 3 speakers. He has a right to reply. We cannot do it today. We listed in the business of the House tomorrow. He's not done it. No procedure is being followed. That's how Parliament is done. Okay. I'm repeating. Parliament belongs to the... just 10 seconds. I'm sorry I'm taking Yashwant's time. Parliament belongs to the opposition. It is the duty of the government to run it. First time in my life I'm seeing government running away from running a parliament, but I still say politically, this suits both national parties. It particularly suits the BJP because they don't want to argue on contentious issues.
I'm not sure how it's suiting the Congress, frankly, which is now, tying itself up in knots on how to defend its leader. I've been hearing a variety of things. The latest one this evening seems to be give him a chance to speak, with no clarity on who didn't give him a chance to speak. Yashwant Deshmukh, how are you seeing all of this panning out? And do you think there will be a finality when Rahul Gandhi finally speaks? Is this demand for an apology more a political strategy by the BJP than anything else? Because like Tehseen said, if he did something illegal, there should be a case by now.
Well, Tamanna, I think it's suiting both of them. I mean, they're taking up what Tehseen has been saying all along, and we have been discussing this. It is suiting the Congress, suiting certain BJP certainly. But yes, I agree that it is suiting the Congress as well. It has been such a meltdown mode all along that till last year, Mr. Rahul Gandhi's ratings were for the first time in single digits, and that was an alarm. And for him to become the center point of the Congress and opposition politics, he needed this much of limelight. So, as I've been saying this is one of those rare occasions, rare moments where actually BJP is happy and Congress is happy equally that the limelight is on Mr. Rahul Gandhi. BJP needs him as much as Congress needs him. Having said that, we are entering in the last 1 year of the Lok Sabha election, and that is something which is interesting for me to always follow on. I mean, one thing which all of us agree on, that it is a democracy, and I'm a person of numbers, Tamanna. I say it with full responsibility, it is democracy, because in the last 9 years, the BJP and Narendra Modi have lost 50% of elections in India. Just because they have won 2014 and 2019, that has taken the center stage. Well, people have voted for them in these 2 elections. That's fine. That doesn't make India undemocratic just because of you have lost 2 elections back to back, because BJP did lose 50% of election in the same country in the last 9 years. There are so many plethora of leaders ranging from Arvind Kejriwal to Mamata Banerjee to Stalin to, everybody out there who has been winning elections against the BJP. So there is democracy, and it's a very functioning democracy. Otherwise, we would not be having this debate for that matter. But the beauty of democracy is, Tamanna, is that a very fine line that if the BJP and the Congress both are working together on this particular occasion, that this focus has to be on Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He has to go back inside. He has to take Congress back into the contention. He has to ensure that he becomes the pole of the opposition as a fighting fit. Because I know for sure, more than the Congress, BJP definitely wants Congress to be in pink shape. More than the Congress, BJP definitely wants Mr. Rahul Gandhi to be in center stage. Otherwise, they just cannot fight a vacuum. You know,
I want to get Shaina in on this. It suits the political pundits on this show, Shaina NC, saying it's suiting the BJP to put Rahul Gandhi in center stage, and it's suiting the Congress. Is it suiting the people of this country that no work has happened for the last 4 days in Parliament in budget session part 2?
Look, the BJP doesn't need to resort to Mr. Rahul Gandhi for any kind of brownie points. We have 11 crore members. We have the strongest leader, the most charismatic leader, and a vision plan of development and stability that we offer state to state. So that is the vision plan and clear-cut agenda. Today, India on the international map is respected because of the Prime Minister's not just relationships, but the work he has done. As far as Mr. Gandhi is concerned, I think he needs tremendous tutoring, and which tutoring sometimes goes wrong, where he's unable to even articulate what he wants to say. He gets confused, lost in translation, and these are the best, learning spin for him, whether he chooses to direct himself as an imbecile or somebody who is extremely knowledgeable. That's his own prerogative. Having said that, on the international platform, to defame our country, Tamanna, to make India or to showcase India in poor light is not acceptable. It should not be acceptable. And as every Indian echoes a sentiment, that sentiment is a sense of pride. We may be whatever we are, we may discuss whatever issues in Parliament, but on international platforms, this is not your personal agenda of taking a dig at Prime Minister Modi and his post as Prime Minister of the country.
Okay,
no, 1 second.
Yeah.
One minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 sec. I will ask counter question, and then Anshul wants to come in, Tehseen wants to come in. My question to you, Shaina, is if you think Rahul Gandhi is an imbecile, as you said, why has your party been asking for an apology from him for the last 4 days? And this is a question I asked Sam Pitroda as well. You have to make up your mind. Is he an important leader of the opposition whose words matter when they're spoken on an international platform, or is he a nobody politically? Which one is it?
No, I'll tell you what.
Which one is it?
I'll tell you what. He's a joke. He's a joke.
Why do you care
and
then?
His
Then why is
inability
Parliament
to
stalled for 4 days?
articulate has defamed India. Because whatever it is, he is a leader of the Congress party. He has chosen to use the international platform to spew lies about India, India's vibrant democracy,
either he's a joke
India's
or
institutions,
he matters.
and has used
Either
it
he's a
as an
joke or
agenda
he matters.
to defame India.
No. So either he's a joke or he matters.
Unfortunately, he is a Congress leader. No, unfortunately, he is a Congress leader. And he has to be accountable when he is defaming India on international platform. Then I think that needs to be out in the...
No, frankly, Anshul, let Anshul answer. If he's a Congress leader and he's a joke, according to you, he needs to be accountable actually to his own party. That why are you not performing well?
No, that we'll
why
deal
should
with.
the BJP
but
care?
I'm sure,
Okay, Anshul.
I'm sure
he's
Shaina
so confused.
in her critique
Tamanna,
can come up
he's
with a better word and
Let
dry
Anshul respond,
vocabulary.
Shaina. Let Anshul respond to you.
No, but I'm really sorry and saddened that I'm sure Shaina can come up with a better vocabulary if she wants to critique anybody, Mr. Rahul Gandhi or anyone at all, instead of using such kind of words. But nonetheless, I'll let that go. I think the major problem is here, it's not what Mr. Rahul Gandhi said. Every single time the opposition voice has been muzzled in Parliament, whether it's been on the matter of price rise, on unemployment, on farmers' issues, anything, Pegasus, the invasion of privacy, anything. But I think the far more important point I want to say related to this is Yashwant's point about Indian elections. I think that is one of the big problems here and a matter of great concern. Of course, elections are the pillar of democracy. Adult suffrage is what makes democracy. But my fear is, and this is not related to just parties alone, I've been noticing this for a long time, is that Indian democracy has been reduced to just elections alone. They've been just running from one election to another, so that the intervening periods of legislation and lawmaking just become these kind of 0 hours of history. And that is the problem. I just came from a legislators conference in Mumbai, and everyone was complaining about the devaluation of the legislator in the states and of the parliament itself and of MPs and of legislators. What is their function? So, what is their role in that? And the tyranny of the executive. And here is the problem here. It is the tyranny of the executive in this government, the ED, or it's spread everywhere.
But why are they losing 50% of the? Why are they losing 50% of the elections?
No, that is another
Congress
problem.
is not winning the 50%. A lot of regional parties are.
You're conflating two things. Why? The Congress party is a 137-year-old party. Yes, you win some, you lose some. That is a different debate. Why you are not able to earn the trust of the electorate and why you are is a different debate. I agree with it. I'm willing to enter that anytime you want. But here it's a different problem. It's about curbing civil liberties. It's about the alarming
Yashwant Deshmukh, curbing civil liberties. Elections is not the only symbol of democracy. A healthy democracy's only symptom is not free and fair elections.
Free and fair press.
That's the argument being made.
Well, Tamanna, who would disagree with that? But certainly there are litmus tests to gauge the health of democracy. Eventually in any democracy is the ultimate litmus test is the election. Are people free to vote out anybody or not? That's the ultimate test. It's not about voting in somebody, it's about kicking out somebody by the ballot. That's the ultimate test. And yes, we understand that. And having said that, I wouldn't take away any of the concern from any of the friend feeling. But there are leaders, there are chief ministers, even from parties who have been Anshul's ex or current colleagues in their alliance formation. What has happened in West Bengal? The way that the ruling party has treated Congress spokesperson and Congress people over there. Has that been on the agenda of the democracy or not? Has Congress raised any question on that or not? So what I'm trying to say is the democracy on those pointers, Tamanna, has been as good and as bad as it has been in 75 years and is as good or as bad in the democracy center as in 30 states.
So to end on a generality, which I think no one can argue with, democracy is always a work in progress. It can always be improved. The question over here is, did Rahul Gandhi defame the country? Should he apologize? And what will he respond when he does? And he should get a chance to speak in Parliament. So that's TBC, to be continued, of course. I'll take a very short break. I want to thank all of you for joining us. But coming up on the other side, we talk about TikTok's latest problems with the United States.